So I want to talk to you about an exercise, a Gottman exercise, Gottman therapy type of intervention that you could say that I do with some of my clients. And this intervention is for clients or couples, I should say, that are having um, a gridlock in terms of they can't get past this problem. Like there seems to be no way of there being a compromise in any way. um like a great example might be um whether or not to have a child. One person wants to have a child, the other one does not. And this would be an exercise that we would take out to do something like that, because obviously, like, it's more or less either or. We can't compromise on having like half a child or something. um so what what it is sort of, I provide the listener with a list of, it's called sort of dream catcher questions, where the question might be, you know, tell me more about why this is so meaningful for you. Like, why do you have this stance on it? Like, it's it's not just asking the question, though. The question are just sample questions. It's just part of the whole picture. It's more about the ability to make your partner feel safe. Safe, like so safe that they can trust you with whatever they're about to say. Because what you're looking for is for your partner to become more expressive, more vulnerable, because this is something deep, deep down inside, right? That we're thinking about. Like, why is it so important for you to have this position? Um, in what, like, why do you need this so bad? Um, it's kind of going beyond logic and reason often, because we often, that's where our sort of analytical brains go, right? Like, this makes no sense. Like, this makes no sense. And so you have to, as the listener, you really have to, I mean, be a great listener. Do not use judgment. Do not try to solve the problem during the process. You just need to listen. It's actually a very, very simple thing to do. But the reason why we provide you these questions is so that, you sort of have an easier way of getting to the heart of the matter. Because often people don't even know how to get there. They don't know the type of questions to ask their partner to really get um, the deep underlying meaning of why they're taking the stance in the position, or why they're behaving the way they do. Um, because the listener could just think you're just being so stubborn, like you don't care about me, or you don't care for my opinion or my position on this, or and it's really often nothing to do with that. So let me give you an example of a couple that I worked with years ago. But I mean, I think it stood out in my mind because it just worked so well. Like, the whole intervention, the dreams within conflict intervention, worked really, really well for this couple. So this was the story. The They were a couple that we were remarried, and um, the so the woman had this bonus son, from his previous marriage. And this son was, maybe 11, 10 at the time. And the son was going back and forth between the two homes, his biological mother's home and his father's home. And this woman didn't have any children, I don't think, before this. But anyway, so the issue, as and you're going to say, like, as crazy as it might seem, but believe me, most conflicts start with, like, I mean, the things that we argue about, right? Like often couples can't even bring it up in a session. The next day they're like, what were we arguing about? Like, or they'll say something like, this will seem so stupid, but this is the issue. And everything from the way the dishwasher is loaded to, who's replacing the toilet paper roll when it runs out. Like, I mean, I've heard everything, and it's more common than you think. Um, so anyway, I mean that replacing the toilet paper roll would not be an issue where I would bring up the dreams within conflict. It's not the time. But this is the issue. Okay, so the child is going back and forth, and rather than the biological mom doing the child's wash, she would often just send it back with the son. Like, so the wash was not being done at the biological mom's house. And in fact, um, yeah, like, I mean, that was the main point. So the wash always needed to be done at the man's house, the biological dad. And his wife was like, no, this is wrong. It's unfair. Like, why do we need to do all his wash? It's, this boy is also her son as well. And she just felt it was wrong. And yet the biological dad kept on saying, I don't have a problem with it. He didn't feel the need to do anything about it. And this really, really bothered her. Now, I don't think it was sort of like, I'm going to leave you sort of thing. If this doesn't change, bother her. But it was something that was really causing a lot of conflict and a lot of resentment on her part. Like, because she couldn't understand it. Like basically when two people are in conflict, usually the cure is understanding. And this is what the dreams within conflict intervention is all about, is to establish an understanding. So some of the questions might be something like, oh, tell me, like, what's your, okay, like something like, what would your core beliefs be, um, or values about washing clothes? Like, I mean, that doesn't really make sense, but like why is it that you washing your son's clothes is so important to you? And then he might or might not really get into it, but then another sample question would be, is there a story behind this? And this is sort of really where you get into the meat of the matter. What's the story behind this for you? Does this relate to your childhood, your background, your history in any way? Tell me more about why is this so important for you about washing clothes? And that's where it came out. So this man started opening up about, his life as a boy growing up. Their family was very much in poverty for his childhood. And it would not be uncommon whatsoever for him to go to school with dirty clothes. And maybe not just one day, but day after day. Now, I don't know if it was idea of affording soap. I don't know. I mean, I don't think so, because there's nothing cheaper than a bar of soap. But like, I think it had something to do maybe with his mother's mental health, or neglect from the parents. But he did mention that, you know, that's one part of it. I do remember him saying, is that they were quite, um yeah, in need of money at the time. So, it maybe it even related to him, um, wearing secondhand clothes that they would buy at a thrift store, and perhaps stains on these clothes, um, tears in these clothes. I don't know, but the basic, like, to sum it up, you know, his basic need to do his son's clothes, despite whatever the biological mom is doing, is sort of like he was making a statement through hell or high water. I am going to make sure, ensure that my son's clothes are clean when he wants to go to school, when he goes to school, because he remembers that feeling so deeply inside, how he was, completely embarrassed and ashamed and probably felt like he didn't belong, in the classroom, or maybe some of his friends were compromised um because of that. Who knows? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't just like grime on the shirt. Maybe it was days after days of wearing them that they actually smelt. I don't know. Like I say, this was I'm talking about like maybe 7, 8 years ago that I still remember this couple and this exercise. So it's, once she heard that, what I mean, she got it. It's sort of like, okay, we're a team, we're gonna do this together. um I don't care what mound of clothes he has, I'm gonna gladly um do these clothes. And I actually think she was the one that was washing the clothes. So maybe another reason for a bit more resentment. But you know, I like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And honestly, you know what? It's not a big deal because I think he, like I said, he was probably 10 or 11. He would probably start even washing his own clothes at that point. Even though I don't remember that being brought up, but who knows? Maybe this child was even washing his own clothes. And but it was just sort of like his wife couldn't get past the fact that he was letting his ex-wife do this. And we can all get there. I think especially as women's is sort of like, it's not right. This is unjust. This is unfair. And I'm going to, do my damnedest to make sure that this no longer happens. When really, like, I mean, we just need to chill. Like, we don't need to, it's not that deep. We don't need to bring in all the drama. We just need to have a conversation with our partner, in a way that you both feel safe, in a way that you're both intently listening, and in a way that you're asking the right questions. That's what it's all about. So I have a copy of this Dreams Within Conflict on my website, luellayoung.com. You can download it. You can take a look at it. It's good stuff. And if you know you may not be able to do this in the comfort of your own home, you might need to reach out to somebody, a coach, a therapist, to help you through this. But these resources are out there for you, so use them if you need them. Thanks.